when you are an entrepreneur, whether you're single or married, you start off being the quote unquote chief everything officer,
Say
which
it
is not
again.
sustainable. You start off being the chief everything officer. Let me tell you what that means, my friends, my sisters, whoever's listening right now. You are the cook in the beginning. You are the secretary. You are the marketing expert. You are the person trying to figure out legal terms and conditions. You are the one trying to figure out what your brand is going to be. It's all these things.
I'm Ashley White, the host of Joy on the Journey podcast, a weekly podcast all about defining, finding, and maintaining joy on the journey of life. I have promised transparent and vulnerable interviews with women like my grandmother that inspire me. And this week is no different. I'm excited to introduce to some of you and highlight to everyone the one and only Gloria Archer. Gloria is the founder and managing partner of Evolvsys LLC, a Houston based organizational change management firm specializing in business and IT transformational projects. She is a change management subject matter expert, y'all. She has scoped and staffed numerous projects impacting thousands of stakeholders worldwide. I'm talking about spanning the globe from the States to Australia and every country in between. And the key to her success is helping others adapt to change. And this is something we all need. Gloria, I am so happy that you have joined the podcast.
I'm thrilled to be here today, Ashley. Thank you for having me.
Y'all, I met Gloria on a panel at Willard Avenue Baptist Church for the Financial Empowerment Ministry. I found myself on a women entrepreneur panel, and two of the women that were on the panel, you all got a chance to meet one of them. Her name was Carol Guest, and the other was Gloria. And I was blown away by their wisdom and knowledge. And I have been wowed that they have graced the podcast.
It's a pleasure to be here, Ashley. I can't emphasize it enough. Thank you so much for having
Oh, thank
me.
you. So I am very, very curious. We ask every guest, we start the podcast giving the full scope of the meaning of joy.
Mm.
How do you define it? How does it show up in your life?
Given the scope of joy, how would I define it? I would say that for me, joy is when you have that inner sense of fulfillment and peace, regardless of what's happening on in you or even outside of you, right? It's kind of like that joy where it transcends all understanding, if you will. You don't have to have something happening to be joyful. Um, and for me, it's a supernatural experience. Is how I would define joy to me.
Mm-hmm. A supernatural experience.
Hmm.
And when did you come to this definition or supernatural experience of joy?
Mm. Great question. Actually, for me, I can remember almost specifically, I know the year for sure, the first time that I really experienced true, sincere joy. And it was the year of 2011.
Mm.
It was a season at the very top of the year where I had hit rock bottom. I mean, complete rock bottom. At this stage of my life, I was 31 years old. I was a single mother of a 14-year-old. All my life, a long portion of my life, I had just really focused on just striving and climbing the career ladder and feeling like, oh my gosh, if I just get this title, then I'm going to have joy and peace. If I just make this much money, then I'm going to have this joy and peace. If I get this kind of a relationship, then I'm going to have joy and peace. If so many things, right? And I finally realized it took me hitting rock bottom to realize, Gloria, it's not even about those things because I actually obtained all of them at the same time.
Wow.
And I experienced a moment where I felt the worst I had ever felt in my entire life.
Mm.
I was just miserable. I'm like, God, I've got the job that I wanted now. I've got the title. I've got the huge increase in pay. I've got the quote unquote relationship that I thought that I wanted. And I'm still miserable. And in that year, the following year, that year was the year that I began to get more intentional about just trying God sincerely this time. Because even though I grew up in church, my mother and father were huge proponents of raising us in the church. I didn't really have a true, genuine relationship with God myself. And I actually took a year sabbatical, and people thought I was crazy. I took a year sabbatical the following year to just really
A year
focus
sabbatical from church or from work?
from work. I
Wow,
took
okay.
almost a year sabbatical. So this fast forward to around March of 2012, I decided, you know what? I need to take some time off because I'm not okay. Everything was just, I'm like, I'm not okay. I need time to focus and I need to be able to hear where I'm supposed to be in my life. And Ashley, when I tell you, it took me almost losing everything that I thought defined me as an individual to really truly discover what joy was. And I realized that joy was a gift that I could embrace if I just chose to.
Ooh.
Um, it was the first time I was like, God, I was like, at this point, I had ended my relationship. I walked away from a 6 figure salary. I even put on pause. At this time, I was pursuing my global project management professional certification. I put it on pause. I was like, I just need to hit a serious reset button to focus on me. And Ashley, when I tell you the type of peace and joy and fulfillment that I experienced that first time, there is absolutely nothing like it. When they say that no one is going to fulfill you or give you joy like God, that is the God's honest truth. You're not going to find it in a job. You're not going to find it in people. You're not going to find it if you quote unquote look a certain way. It is a gift from God that we can literally tap into if we choose to receive it.
Oh, Gloria, that is so, so powerful.
It's the truth.
So powerful. And the strength and conviction to step away.
Yes.
Can you talk about having those conversations with one, your management, within your family? Because there is an expectation from
Yes.
people once you've reached a certain level that this is just what you're going to do. You're going to constantly continue to pursue.
Oh, yes.
What were those conversations like when you began to tell them, this is what I need for me?
You know what, Ashley? For one, they were quite surprised by it. For one, because my family knew that my personality was one where I was always like ambitious, always striving. And their thought too was, well, Gloria, well, how are you going to take care of Kayla? You're a single mom, like, how are you going to do that? And I know when I spoke with my mom about it, though, she was very supportive of it because she understood that at the end of the day, if you don't have peace and joy, then you're not going to be living life with purpose and intentionality anyway. So the conversations with my family, some of them were surprised by it, but my approach was, or my inner thinking was, I'm not even asking you for permission. And I really don't care like what y'all think. Like, I really do not care what y'all think, okay? And my friends, because a lot of my friends, I've always, like, especially in my professional career circle, I've worked with individuals who are like, a higher ranking positions. They have the nice cars, a nice name brand, this and that. And they were like, well, Gloria, you're at this place now. You can get all these things too. And you can get this, go ahead and move for this next promotion within your company. And I was just like, no, because I know that I am living a lie and I am trying to be free. Those things are not making me happy. Then they're not bringing me joy. And you know what? If you're really my friend and if you really care about me, then you will support me in this journey. Same thing with family. And if you don't, if I have to lose you to gain my joy and peace, I'm okay with that too.
Whew.
And so that's how those conversations went. And Ashley, let me tell you something about our creator, God, and how wonderful he is. When I tell you that Kayla and I, my oldest biological daughter, that we didn't miss a beat
Hmm.
in that year, that I lived off of about 80% less. But when I tell you, oh my God, how God took care of us, not a single bill got missed. As a matter of fact, I paid up quite a few things ahead of schedule. Okay. Kayla did not want for anything. And I knew to myself, I was like, God, I thank you for this gift. I thank you for honoring the obedience for me to listen to your voice saying, daughter, I'm giving you an invitation to get some rest. I'm giving you an invitation to get some rest because, again, at this point, too, a large portion of the previous 10 years, I had been working a full time job. I had been going to school while being a single mother. I was in a relationship that I felt like I wasn't appreciated. I had become an alcoholic. And on the surface, when people saw me, they thought, oh my God, they thought I was so happy, but they didn't know that I was living a lie, Ashley. I was living a lie. And I was desperate. I was like, God, by any means necessary, by any means necessary, what I'm doing is not working. I got to let this go.
Hmm.
And that's how those conversations went, Ashley.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, Ashley. Absolutely.
Thank you. And I
Absolutely.
think so many of us have been called to rest, called
Mm.
to lay things down,
Mm.
but in the busyness, we can't hear
Mm.
the stillness of God.
Oh my God, that is so true, Ashley.
And so, thank you for
Absolutely.
showing the impact and the provision of God, that he will
Absolutely.
still provide when we rest. He is even
Oh,
a greater God when we lean into him.
oh
So thank
God,
you for that.
Ashley. I love how you put that. And
Mm,
it's my pleasure to do it. I
mm,
want to share this testimony so that other people can know that our God is real and he
mm-hmm.
can make our less more. There's no question about that.
Mm.
No
Oh,
question.
amen.
No
Y'all, this is
question.
good. This is so good. Oh, okay.
I'm trying to make sure I don't get too emotional either when I think about it. That's the season. I just,
Oh,
oh
no,
God.
this is so good. So I want to talk about how you got interested in being a change management expert. How does one say, of all the things, all the topics in the world, change. I am going to become an expert in change.
Oh, that's such a wonderful question, Ashley. And how did I get into the world of change management? To be very transparent, I wasn't even seeking it out
Okay.
intentionally. So I had been working with my employer at that time for about 6 years. I was a fresh college graduate student. And I was like, you know what? I'm ready to get out of the admin field. I want to break into like, the marketing area and get into that space within my career. And an opportunity came available within a company where it was a focus on it was a supply chain transformation project. It was a $500 million project where it was going to impact over 5,000 employees company wide, multiple geographic locations, and they were looking for a communication specialist. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've been, and it was a project based role, okay? Now, keep in mind, I had been with the company again for about 6 years. I had never worked on a project basis at up until this point, but I felt like it was a step of faith for me because I'm like, I have an opportunity to apply my skill sets in the marketing space. My undergrad is in marketing. My major is business administration. I'm like, I've got a chance to be exposed in a different way and learn under some pretty fantastic people that were on this project because there were approximately 100 individuals on the project team geographically dispersed. And I'm like, you know what, let me just step in. And in the course of me accepting that job, I was my company that my company sent me to a ProSci certification training. And
Mm,
ProSci is one of the most recognized change management certification programs. And in that training, actually, it was one of the best trainings I had ever been to in my life. where in simplistic terms, it talked about, how everyone navigates change through these 5 areas, right? And depending on how well they rate in these categories is going to determine how prepared they are for the change. That and it's called the ADKAR model. The A stands for how aware is a person of change. The D is for how much desire does a person have to change. The K is for knowledge. How much training do they have on how to change? A is for the ability, the bandwidth, psychological bandwidth, physical bandwidth to change. And R is around the reinforcement, the sustainability of change. And that training taught me that, the higher or lower a person ranks in those areas, that's going to drive how we navigate an individual, a department, collectively an organization to adopt change in a positive way. And as I was going through this training, I said, you know what, this is a methodology that we can even apply in our personal life.
Yeah.
When we think about, for example, I like to use like my oldest daughter, for example. I wanted her to make up her bed, right? She had the awareness of it because I kept telling her about it. Her desire was low because she felt like it was a boring thing to do. As far as her vitamin K training, Kayla knew how to make up her bed. As far as for her, the other A, her ability, her bandwidth, according to her, she didn't have the time to integrate that change because she had so many things to do. And as far as for reinforcement, it wasn't really being reinforced. I wasn't doing a good job of holding her accountable for it, for that new way of changing and making up her bed. And so when you're intentional in those areas, it can really help people move from resistance to a change to a more positive way of change. And I became fascinated with it because I'm like, I was working on a project that was going to impact people's jobs. Some people were going to possibly lose their jobs. Okay. Some people were afraid of losing their jobs. And I said, I like this methodology because it allows me to help people navigate change in an empathetic, in a compassionate way, where we can give them the opportunity to even partner with us on a change journey versus change happening to them. And that's just a passion of mine because first of all, I just love people. I really do. I want to help in any way that I can. And change management, I know that in businesses we're seeing it. I mean, with AI, change is something that's going to be constant. Is no project is ever the same. And I love this field because it gives me the opportunity to meet so many different types of people and to help people even instill a sense of confidence and esteem to realize, you know what, even if this change, it might change your job a bit, right? It's likely going to change your job a bit. There's even a possibility that some jobs might be eliminated, right? But you still have an opportunity to grow and evolve forward to where you get to develop some transferable skill sets that no matter where you go, you're valuable and you can still thrive and move forward. Don't let this company dictate to you, what your career path is moving forward. So I love that.
That is so interesting, and thank you for giving us that framework that we also can adopt ourselves of when we are facing change. Being able to say, how well am I meeting these 4 or 5 criteria?
Yes.
I want to ask, as you are helping these companies, can you tell automatically now when it's like, they're gonna struggle?
Oh.
What are some signs like, they're gonna struggle with this change?
Oh.
And on the flip side, what are some signs? It's like, they got this.
Oh, I love these questions. Great question. Ashley, let me tell you, yes, it has gotten to the point now where I can tell pretty much early on if a company is really serious about change. And here's a couple of ways that we can decipher that. When I'm having a conversation with an executive sponsor, and when I say an executive sponsor, I'm talking about someone who has the authority to mandate change enterprise wide, right? When I'm having a conversation with them about their future desire state, and that executive sponsor can't tell me concretely what success looks like and how they're going to measure it, it's normally an indicator that they're not quite as serious about the change.
Oh, that's good.
Another way I can tell, even faster now, if an organization or if an executive sponsor or client is serious about change or not, is when I ask this simple question: Is change going to be mandatory or optional? And you'd be amazed, Ashley, how many projects I've worked on both as an employee in the past and even as a consultant business owner, where the response has been, well, we don't want to make it too hard on them initially. And we'll ask the question, okay, but by when does change need to happen? Because if it's optional, then change is a wish and it's not a priority. And I cannot make that happen for you. I'm here to help you facilitate the desired outcome that you're looking for. But if you're not serious about, and I don't say it that way, of course, but if when I can see the executive sponsors even are not serious about mandating change, then I know for sure that they're not serious about the path forward. Lastly, I will say this too. When we communicate to the executive sponsors what their role is in change, the importance of them being visible and active sponsors, casting the vision, periodically checking in, frequently actually checking in with the organization to let them know where change is headed. When I can quantify and see, okay, listen, over the past 6 months, the executive sponsors have only attended 20% of the update meetings. Okay, in the past 6 months, the organization has only received one communication from the executive sponsor. Okay, you know what? In the past 6 months, 20 decisions have been raised to the executive sponsors to make a decision on. They haven't responded. Those are telltale signs that the executive sponsors and the organization, they're not serious about change. I can tell it. We can tell it really quickly now.
That is, it's so good. And as you were speaking, I was thinking about myself as my own executive sponsor of my life.
I love that.
And you were saying how you can tell if change is going to happen if the executive sponsor says, well, it's optional.
Yes.
And so how often do we say, well, I'm going to do a thing, or I want this thing to happen, but I'm kind of wishy-washy on, well, I'm going to start next week.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not really consistent on my check-ins with myself. You have checked me as an executive sponsor of my own change management.
Oh, gosh.
And going back to the table saying, sis, look in the mirror. Am I really serious about my own change management? How realistic are my goals and the things that I say I want to do?
Oh, that's good, Ashley.
But I'm not consistent at the things that are going to accomplish them.
You're in good company, Ashley, because I've had to check myself on the personal side of this too. So
that was going to be my next question.
I had to check myself too.
How, as a doer, right? This is what you do. You are a change management expert, subject matter expert. But is it hard? Is it easy or hard to take that hat off when you come home?
Oh gosh, Ashley, that is a wonderful, wonderful question, because the reality of it is it has been, and oftentimes it is challenging. It's one thing when I am helping to facilitate change for, someone else. It's kind of like, I think it's Olivia Pope on that show. It's kind of like, okay, you can fix everybody else's.
Oh, yeah.
But when it comes to me, it's a whole different situation now, okay? And I have to be really honest with myself and say, okay, Gloria, you've been saying, for example, like, I'm going to use my A1C, for example. For those who are not familiar with A1C, that's an indication of, like, diabetes levels or whatever. I love sweets.
Okay.
I'm crazy about sweets. But if I'm saying, okay, Gloria, you know what? I want to get out of pre-diabetic range, and I've been having a piece of cake every day, I'm not serious about change. It's a wish. It's a wish. Or, you know what? Okay, Gloria, we want to get out of debt by this X time frame. If I make decisions where I am either purchasing things that I know that are out of budget, I'm not following it, then I'm not serious. So what I have to do in my personal life, what I've discovered, what has helped me when I'm trying to make a change, especially a significant change, right? I like to get my accountability partners, because they're now my executive sponsors. They're part of they're watching me. They're going to hold me accountable, and they're going to look at my KPIs and say, my key performance indicators, and say, Gloria, okay, listen, we're approximately 3 months away from go live. I'm going to say, for example, for having a lower A1C, Gloria, how many times per week did you exercise, Gloria? Gloria, how many times this week, how many sweets have you had, Gloria?
Mm.
Gloria, how many times, have you put down the soda, for example? I'm just giving some
Yeah.
scenarios here, right? And that helps me to become more intentional about the change in my personal life
Mm-hmm.
because I know somebody is watching me
Yeah.
and they're paying attention. So those are some techniques that have helped me to navigate change, or I should even say planned change,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a difference between how we navigate change. And I'm even thinking about this right now as we're even talking. There's a difference between how we navigate change when it's a planned change versus an unplanned change
Yeah.
that we're navigating in our personal life and even in work life.
Mm-hmm.
Does
I
that
want
make
to talk,
sense?
yeah, no, that completely, because, I think about death. It's a whole
Yes.
lot different
Mm.
when you know someone is transitioning.
Yes.
You can kind of begin to write the obituary. You can kind of begin
Mm.
to prepare others and make, I don't know if
Mm.
it's going to happen this week or next week, but just be prepared
Yes.
versus just getting a certain phone call
Oh God,
and
that's
your
so
life
true,
just
actually.
instantly changing.
Oh God.
So no, absolutely, there's a difference with how change impacts us,
Mm. Oh, that's good. How it impacts us.
but
Yes.
the reality is change will happen.
Mm.
But if you have certain skills,
Mm.
they do kind of cross over. Like, what I love what you were saying of having an accountability partner. The
Mm.
same thing with those unplanned changes, having someone to talk to when those
Yes.
unconventional, unplanned, life altering, life shaking things happen, having that person to
Yes.
talk to and saying, sis, woo, life
Whew.
is doing a number.
Oh my God. Doing a number.
I'm not doing well. Check on me. Because, and
Mm.
being honest and transparent
Yes.
and having that person hold you accountable to, are you telling
Mm.
me the truth or are you telling me what you want me to hear?
Ooh. Ooh. Now that part right there. That part right there. Am I telling you the truth or am I telling you what you want me to hear? That's deep right there.
Yeah. I want to ask, with every change, there also comes opportunities for doubt and worry. You
Mm.
are an entrepreneur. You have
Mm.
stepped out of the corporate, I was going to say safety net, but there is no
Yes.
safety net there either. But you've stepped out of the corporate arena and you have started your own entrepreneurial firm.
Ooh.
Why did you choose to do that?
Oh, Ashley, that's another wonderful question. Why did I choose to leave at least the perceived safety net? Because a lot
Yes.
of us do have that perception, right,
Mm-hmm.
of corporate America. For me, Ashley, it was several things. For one, I knew that if I continued doing this profession as either an employee in the industry space
Mm-hmm.
or even as an employee of a consulting firm, that the probability of me getting burnt out was 10 times higher than me having ownership of like scoping out the types of change projects that I took on. That was the first thing for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, I knew back in 2010, at that time my daughter was 14 years old. I knew at that time that I was going to form Evolvsys. I
Okay.
knew it because when I was an employee, we would hire outside consulting firms, the big four consulting firms like Accenture, Deloitte, to help us with change management activities. And I'm like, you know what? I can do this. I can do it as a consulting firm. And I want to do it in a way, I want to employ consultants in a way to where they have more balance, work life balance, and how they're doing this time sensitive, demanding profession, right?
Mm-hmm.
I knew for sure that I wanted to do that. And I knew that it was important that I had a work environment that was conducive to me being a single mother. I wanted to spend more time with my daughter. I realized, I said, you know what? I have been so busy striving and spending so much time because I didn't want Kayla to experience the socioeconomic woes that I experienced as a child because I grew up under very modest financial circumstances, right? And I was so busy striving to make sure that she had the things, the tangible things that she wanted, that I was like, okay, but Gloria, you need more time with your baby, and you're not gonna. And she's quickly approaching 18 years old. If you keep on working like this, you're going to miss the moments and the memories that you will never get to see again. So I felt like I knew in my spirit that going the entrepreneurial path, I would have more control of my schedule, the flexibility. And also, as a minority, specifically an African American woman, I wanted to be a role model. I wanted at-risk young adults and teens to know that, you know what, you can come from a not so polished background, if you will, right? You can have challenges like becoming a teenage mother at 16 years old, and you can still soar to heights. You can even create a successful business. Even with you being minority, in my case of being a black woman, you can do it. Don't let anyone tell you differently. And so that was a lot of my shift. It was around flexibility, role modeling to at-risk young adults and teens, because I was certainly one of them, which you can aspire towards. It's not the footprint, but here is an example and how you can get there. And I wanted my baby too. I wanted Kayla to know this is an option for you, okay? There's absolutely nothing wrong with working an 8 to 5 job. It's an honorable thing to do. But I want you to know that this is an option for you if this is the path that you choose. That was a lot of the reason why I made that transition.
Wow. So you had the vision in 2010, but when did you open the doors?
So that's a great question, because it was a journey to transition from being an employee as a change manager to becoming an actual full-time change management business owner, right? So I started building the infrastructure for EvolveSys parallel to becoming what was called a temporary employee, where I started doing projects on a contract basis, but I was a temporary employee for like a staffing agency, for example, right? That was from around 2012 all the way up until 2015. So I continued doing those projects behind the scenes to have a stable source of income for Kayla and myself. But again, all the while behind the scenes thinking about, okay, what kind of processes do we need to have in place? You know, who is going to be our target market? What do we want our brand to look like? How will we pitch ourselves? What types of consultants do we want to work with? All those dynamics were being worked on. And so then in 2016 was when I said, okay, I'm getting ready to take another step of faith. And I have no intention of going back to work for anyone as a W-2 employee whether it be a traditional full-time employee or on a project basis. And actually, let me be very honest with you, y'all. This entrepreneurial path, it is a faith walk. Let me tell you, it is a faith walk. You're gonna have to make some serious sacrifices in so many areas. Okay, so in 2016, that was when we were experiencing a downturn in the Houston market, at least in the oil and gas industry, right? And I was having a hard time getting clients. And so actually, 2017 was the first time that we got the direct EvolveSys contract, where it was not operating under someone else's brand, but it was working under the EvolveSys brand. But we actually had to get our own attorney to come in and help us negotiate the contract. And we were able to get a contract with, at that time, that company was also a multi-billion-dollar company. So that was 2017. 2018, 2019, again, consistent focus on EvolveSys getting those direct clients. But I do have to admit that in between 2018 and the end of 2019, I did take 2 more W-2 projects that were shorter in nature. They were about 3 months. But then when the pandemic hit, let me tell you, something happened on that W-2 project in December of 2019 where I was like, that's it. Like, that's it for real. Like, I am now going to go full throttle with this. Let me tell you what it was that really pushed me to say, okay, you know what? I'm getting ready to let go of my crutches. When the project had a need for a change management, an additional change management resource, and they reached out to me to see if I knew someone that could be brought in, but they chose not to go with that individual because they had a relationship with another change management firm, and they chose to bring that person in instead, and they wanted me to kind of oversee their activities on that project. And I said, no, never again. Because if I had been able to negotiate the contract, I would have had it set up to where if we need to augment this team further, that person's going to come in through Evolve and we're going to staff it. So from 2020 up until now is when I have really, like, I have been full throttle. Like, it's 100% like Evolve. So that has been the transition at a very bird's eye view level of the journey. Yeah. I didn't just wake up one morning and say, oh, I'm quitting and now I'm going to start this full time. No, it's been a journey, a transition.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, that makes complete sense. And I think it's important for everyone to understand that life has hills and valleys and curves, and there is no nonstop direct route anywhere.
No. No, not at all. Not at all. No.
I want to, as we are coming close to our time, I do want to talk about something that you mentioned that was so impactful to me. You are married and you do have some additional children. Can you speak now to the importance of partnership and asking for the things that you need?
Oh, God, Ashley, that is perhaps the most important question, okay? Because one thing that I have learned in this entrepreneurial journey is, and also being married too, when I was working an 8 to 5 job, I took for granted the fact that I have a supporting infrastructure there, whether it be the cafeteria cook, whether it be someone who helps check the mail, whether the IT equipment, the IT infrastructure is set up, the brand is established. Hello, how about the fact that people will do business with their employer because they have a brand? You've got all this supporting infrastructure in place for you to do your job as an employee. When you are an entrepreneur, whether you're single or married, you start off being the quote unquote chief everything officer, which is not sustainable. You start off being the chief everything officer. Let me tell you what that means, my friends, my sisters, whoever's listening right now. You are the cook in the beginning. You are the secretary. You are the marketing expert. You are the person trying to figure out legal terms and conditions. You are the one trying to figure out what your brand is going to be. It's all these things. And you start in the earlier phases of entrepreneurship, especially once I got married too, you almost, if you're not careful, you'll say, God, why did I do this? Because I'm working harder now for myself than when I was for someone else. And I had to realize this is not sustainable. Get what you came here for. I came here because I wanted to have flexibility, freedom. I value learning. I want to say that again to everybody. Whatever your path is, first of all, you have to remember, what is your why? Why am I doing this? Because it's going to come with sacrifices, y'all. I'm telling you. And get what you came here for. So in order for me to have flexibility, I'm going to need some help. I cannot become a slave to my business. I have to recognize that I'm a human being. I am finite. And at the end of the day, 24 minus 24 still equals 0. 8 hours minus 8 hours still equals 0. So here is what I have learned to do as a lifestyle for me, okay? I embrace my limitations.
Yeah.
Okay? So when we have things that need to be done in a household or even at work, I'm thinking about math, okay? Listen, we have 20 tasks that need to be done within this week. Well, let's see how we can delegate this, because guess what? I'm not going to have time to be throwing down in the kitchen like I used to. And I love to cook and I love to eat. I'm not going to have time to be the one cleaning up this house and scrubbing all the toilets while trying to generate revenue for the business. I don't have the bandwidth, or I don't even have the skill set, for example, to do certain things in my business, because here's the thing. While I might be a change management expert, I do not know everything. I'm not the best IT person. I'm not always the best marketing person, but there is someone out there who's excellent at it. And it makes more sense for me to pay them a certain hourly rate that's lesser than the amount that I would generate for a client than me trying to do everything. And that does not mean that I'm incompetent. It does not mean that I'm being lazy. What it means is that I'm being resourceful, and I am also helping other people tap into their gifts and their callings. And it's also, you're doing your family a gift by asking for help.
Yeah.
Because what does it profit you to have a business if by the time you're done with it, you're burnt out, you're exhausted, you're walking around looking like a flamingo because you're all worn out? It doesn't make any sense. Like, don't even try it. Listen, if I can't say anything else, get help. As a matter of fact, when you start your workday, think about in your mind, even if you're not in a place where you can afford to hire someone just yet, think in your mind, okay, you know what? If budget wasn't a concern, what are some things that I would like to delegate today or ask for help with, that I can ask for help with in the future?
Mm-hmm.
You'll be amazed how that takes the pressure off of you. Or some other ways of getting help in being married. Even see if you can see if you can barter with people. You know what? Hey, let's say like a college intern, for example. You know, you find a student who wants to do some marketing activities. You have a college student who likes to work with technology. You know what? We can't necessarily compensate you financially, but what we can do is give you a great educational opportunity with a great reference. We can even sponsor perhaps some professional organizations that you would like to join. But there's a variety of ways that you can get help for yourself and your business, where you don't have to be the one doing everything, and it's a win-win for everybody involved. I know I kind of went all over the place with that.
No, that was excellent.
But I can't emphasize it enough. Do not try to do everything on your own. Even, I don't care if you're just dating or if you're married. Don't ever try to set that unrealistic expectation. It's a great recipe to burn yourself out. Don't do it.
Oh, that's everything.
Don't do it.
I needed that for me.
Oh,
Thank you so very much.
I'm so glad that helps, Ashley. Please love yourself. You deserve better than that. And overwork in our society, we live in a world where you are applauded for, oh God, I'm so busy. I work 60 hours a week. Oh, I'm so busy. I was doing this. Oh, I'm in a hurry. I'm in a hurry. You know, I've got to get this thing done. And we celebrate that. And it's really backwards, because you're almost celebrating someone for wearing themselves out, for being a slave to whatever it is that's got them in bondage like that. You're celebrating this person for not being present with their life and being able to have a multi-dimensional life. You know, you have to look at your business as, this business is a conduit to my life. The business must evolve and revolve around my personal spiritual needs. I can't. My spiritual life and physical needs can't evolve and revolve around the business. We got to make sure that we do that, Ashley. I can't emphasize that enough. A stroke at 29, you would have thought I would have learned it the first time, but that taught me too the importance of that work-life integration, work-life balance is so essential.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely.
It's so important, so important. One of the things that I have over the last couple of weeks been adamant about is taking the Sabbath, is making sure that on Sunday, the only thing that I am doing is worshiping, serving in my capacity at church. We worship together.
Yes.
And resting.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh,
and
yes.
allowing my mind to come down, to allow my body to rest.
Yes.
And mentally then prepare for the week.
Yes.
But not do the things.
Not do the things. Did y'all hear what Ashley said? Not do the things.
Not do
Amen.
the things. But what that also helps me to do is, as I'm mapping out the week, going, oh, well, this is a long list of things. Let's map out. You only have so many days. You only got so many hours. What on this list is a priority?
Yes. Yes. Oh, that's great.
What is a priority for you? What is a priority for my full-time job? What is a priority for what is the priority for my passion, which is the podcast? And what is a priority for my family? All these things, all these different categories. And then how can I get this? What can be done? And then releasing the things that can't be.
Oh, that's so good, Ashley. You said, and then releasing the things that can't be.
And I do that on Sunday before the week even starts.
Oh, that's so
I make a full list. These are all the things that I would love to get done. I would love to get them done for the week, but being realistic about the time. And then being happy with, okay, This is it.
Ooh.
This is what I'm going to do, and making sure that I'm then being intentional on the times that I set aside to do the things that I said I can't do.
Oh
So thank
God,
you so
Ashley, I
much from
love
freeing
that.
us from not being busy. And I heard this a long time ago, to stop saying you're busy and start
Yeah.
saying I'm being productive.
Oh, that's so good, Ashley.
Because being busy means you're just moving.
Oh
I don't want to be
gosh.
busy. I want to be productive with my time.
Oh God, Ashley,
And
that's
my
so
if I'm
good.
being productive with my time, resting is a part of that as well.
Oh my
So thank you
God,
for sharing. Thank you
yes.
for sharing. Thank you for sharing.
It's my pleasure.
In this final section, it is the journey ahead. So, as
Whew.
a praying, seeking God's face, would you dare share your vision for your business, for yourself, for your family, however you want to take it, for the next 5 years?
Oh, oh, that's a great question, Ashley. What is my vision for the business, for my family as I look 5 years out? I'm going to be very vulnerable and transparent here, y'all. I'm going through some transitions right now myself. Going from having the kids at home to being some pretty solid empty nesters. I'm now officially a middle-aged mom, and um, now I'm in that phase of my life where I'm helping to take care of my own mom and dad in different ways that I didn't realize, I didn't see coming, if you will, right? So as I look 5 years out, I think it's important for me to make room for life shifts that are going to happen that that I can kind of anticipate, but then I can't anticipate. What's most important to me, though, when I look 5 years out for, I'm going to say on a personal level, I'm going to start there first, is I'm being more intentional about making impacts and reaching back to teenagers and at-risk young adults, right?
Mm.
I see myself opening up a program where college students or even high school students who are at risk, where they can come and even perhaps even intern with Evolvsis, right, and get exposure to professional corporate America jobs that they may not necessarily get exposure to under different circumstances, right? I really, really see that for Evolvsis as I look 5 years out, really helping nurture them as they transition and prepare for their career lives. I see a lot of that. Um, on a personal level, gosh, our children, 5 years out, will have a couple that are going to be in their 30s actually at that time frame. I see myself trying to implement more family customs. And what I mean by that is, like, for example, I want to start a thing where we're having like first Sunday dinners in the family, right?
Aw.
A lot of our family on both my husband and our sides of the family, they live here in Houston. I've got about 50 family members here in Houston,
Mm,
as does he. And I think that it's important that we be intentional about spending time together and learning more about our family history, and
mm.
just being intentional about building those types of life lasting memories together. Those are some of the things that I can envision as I look out 5 years from now. And I also want to be a mentor for those young adults and teens, even in our immediate family, and show them, what's possible and what's to come. I
Aw.
hope that answers your
Yeah, no,
question,
that's
Ashley.
beautiful. I want to come over one of these Sunday dinners.
Yes, we would love to have you, Ashley. Yes.
So, if someone was interested in your change management services, how could they get in touch with you? Or if they're interested in, they have a young adult that has
Mm.
interest in internship, how can they get in touch with you?
Absolutely. So to get in contact with Evolvsis, you can first visit our website at evolvsisllc.com. You can also email us Monday through Friday between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Central Standard Time at we care for you at evolvsisllc.com. And when we say the number four, it's just the number four. So we care for, and then the letter U at evolvsisllc.com. You can also follow us on LinkedIn. Search for Evolvsis LLC, and you can follow us there. And then you can also contact us by phone Monday through Friday, again between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, by calling us at 713-425-3961.
We're going to cut that for the commercial. All of this information we will be sure to add in the description of the podcast and of the video. Please be sure to add your comment, your favorite takeaway, how you're going to be intentional about your rest, of being intentional about getting help,
Yes.
and being intentional about asking for the things that you need from the people in your life, finding an accountability partner.
Yes.
And let's all make sure that we are managing the change better in our lives. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
It's been my pleasure, Ashley. Thank you so much for having me here
This has
today.
been incredible, incredible, incredible. You have blessed our lives in such a special way.
It means the world to me. Thank you so much, Ashley.
This has been good, y'all. I'm so excited. So please be sure to like, share, subscribe, share the episode with anyone that needs to hear it. Share it with everybody, not just that need to hear it. Just share it with everybody.
Yes.
And until we gather again every single Thursday, may God increase your joy, grant you strength for the journey, and give you the courage to tell your story. Bye, friends.
Bye.